we're going to go through the process of implementing the 1.8.1 hotfix for Survival Game Kit 1.8. Now, this is if you're using my merged version based on the videos of Survival Game Kit and Advanced Locomotion. If you're doing just Survival Game Kit, or maybe you have another project that doesn't have the ALS movement system built into it, you could go get my video that I've already done for the 1.8 to 1.81 update of the hotfix. So this is specifically, we'll be dealing with things that are particular to my merged version of the project. So if you are using that and you're on 1.8, just like you see on the screen, you'll be wanting to use this and you watch this video. If you're wanting to follow along, make sure you go to diffusestudios.com and you'll see there's a patch notes section. Currently, we've already implemented this 1.8 patch note, and now we're going to be doing the 1.8.1 hotfix. So if you go to diffusestudios.com, go to the patch notes section, you can click the 1.8.1, and you should see something like this that has 3 different fixes that we're going to be implementing today. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, you'll need to open the project. You should have a project that has Advanced Locomotion v3, it has Survival Game Kit in there, and it's all working at the 1.8 version. We'll start with the first one. This one is pretty quick, but you'll need to be in the master grid blueprint. So this is part of the Survival Game Kit section. So make sure you have Survival Game Kit selected on the left. And in the filter, let's type master grid. You'll see a blueprint for that. And we'll want to be in the event graph. You should be there already. You'll see the red section here. Look at the lower left where it says client loads grids from server. You'll have here's an event that's happening. We'll need to put an is valid check between this custom event and the branch. So create a little bit of room. If you want to, you could drag the is logo player controller down a little bit and then drag off of that event and do is valid. You'll see a little question mark there. Click that. And what we're going to check to make sure it's valid is this player controller. We want to make sure that player controller is working before it loads that. If it is, then it will continue forward. If it is not valid, then it will not. It'll stop it right there. So that should make it so that, for instance, if the server's trying to load it and it's not a valid player controller, it shouldn't move forward. Next, we need to go into the inventory save system. So go ahead and hit compile and save on the master grid. And then let's go back to showcase. And I'm going to search for inventory save. You'll see inventory save system right there. Go ahead and open that up. And I'm already where we want to be, but what I'm going to do is I'll go to the event graph so we can get to the correct section. And in the event graph, we want to go to the start auto save timer. So on the left here under my blueprints, search for start auto, and you'll see here start auto save timer. Go ahead and double click that to open it. Zoom out, and you see here the right hand side there are some comment boxes that loads grid save and call server load to items, things like that. What we want to do is move this to the left because it's already happening here. So what we can do, I don't know at what point this happened, but you see where there's a switch has authority before, so between branch and the load grids, that's where we want it to be. It doesn't really matter unless this was somehow, I don't think this one will ever be hit. So let's go ahead and delete this and reconnect it there, bring those together, something like that. And that'll match what he has for the 1.81 version. So that's something that I don't know why, at what point we've got one in here, but we need to make sure that switch has authority is between the branch and the load grids. So go ahead and compile and save that. And we are going to be staying in here, the inventory save system. That's the correct section for this next part of it. And on the left, instead of start auto save timer, we need to do save master grids. And you see there, you should see save master grids. And all of these where it says add, we're going to be going through and we're going to need to make sure it's add unique. So there's a whole list of them. You can see here all the way down, we have add, 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 add. What we want to do is change that. And from this, instead of this add, I'm going to drag off of this grid saves. Just type add unique. Here it says add unique. And then what we want to do is drag this down. So the add unique, it's the grid saves. Type is foundation. But we need to now get this here. So what I'm going to do is right click, split that struct. So you see there was a blue circle there. I right clicked, split the struct. And now you can see some of the same options that we were looking for previously. So you need to make sure this matches for the one you're replacing. Or see where it says foundation, choose foundation. You see where it says grid transform, go and click and drag that down. Grid size, go and click and drag that down. When you're done, it should look like this. Should have all of these filled except for you'll have foundation selected there. You can delete that previous one and then put it down there. Next thing we can do is just go ahead and click this where it says add unique. I'm going to hit Control C there so I have a copy of it. And I'm just going to paste those. I'm going to put one below each one that I'm eventually going to do just to get them all on there. And then we will quickly start moving these down. So you can see now we have one under each. All the splits, the struct is already split. We now need to just control drag the grid saves down, the grid transform down. See, here's a pillar. We need to make sure that matches pillar. And then the grid size, drag down, and the route node, go ahead and put that down there. Okay, so that one is done. Next, we want to make sure that's a wall. And then control, click, and drag all of these down. See, it totally replaced it. Next is a ceiling. Drag all of these. You just really need to be careful and note that you are putting the correct grid type, because that will mess it up if you put the wrong one. You want to make sure, like this is stairs U, make sure it's stairs U, because it's going to do a particular thing when it gets to this section. And if it's the wrong grid type, that will make it not perform how you intended. So next we'll be doing the door. Drag all of these down. And the last one is window. And then go ahead and connect all of those up. All right, go ahead and compile and save that. And that should fix the issue with the grid's not saving correctly. You see I've done all of these in this row. And the master grid, we'll go ahead and close those for now. And then I will hit save all. The next problem is going to be in the player inventory component. So go ahead and on the left, make sure survival game kit selected. And then in the filters, put player inventory component. You see there, it should be the only one that's named player inventory. In here, we want to be in the event graph. So just make sure you are. You should see a ton of different items in here. But what we need to do is add an is valid node to the section here. First, I'm going to find the correct area that we need to be by first in the upper left searching for client select slot. You see that there under the event graph, client select slot. Double click that, takes me right where I want to be. Now I need to add an is valid in between this branch and the event. So go ahead and drag all those things over a little bit, just enough to fit an is valid in there. Drag off of the out node and type is valid and make sure it's the one with the question mark that you choose. Sure I have enough space here. And then I'm going to be checking if the inventory HUD, so you can see an inventory HUD here to the right. I'm going to Control C that and Control V just to make a copy of it right here and drag it up. If the HUD is valid, then it will continue with these. The client select slot. If it doesn't have a valid HUD, then it will not. So that should fix that issue, some component errors you're receiving. So go ahead and compile and save that. Now this last one, this one is not quite the same. This one is going to be just replacing files. So if you go to, I'm going to have a link in the description of this video, but if you go to the fix for this, there is a Dropbox link. I'll have that Dropbox link below, but this is where I'm getting this. It says to close the project, copy some files into this folder, and then you should be able to open it up and those will be working correctly. So go ahead and save all here just to be safe. Depending, I want to make sure that you've done it recently. Right click on the content folder, hit fix up redirectors, and then let's go ahead and close. I'm going to open up the folder that I have all these files in, and then go to content, and you'll see here survival game kit. So if you open that up, you can take this path that they supply and go to blueprints and then HUD. So this is where the files are. So survival game kit, blueprints and HUD under the content folder. I have here a zip of the files. I'm just going to drag these two into that folder. It'll ask if I want to replace them. I shouldn't have these customized. If you've gone through and customized these, you may want to look, but most likely you haven't. Okay, so I replaced those. And now I'm going to go ahead and open up the project, make sure there are no errors, open up those files and make sure they look correct. And if you're wanting to know which files they are, it'll be the crafting tooltip and the required actor blueprint. And this will be the only thing. This should be the last patch for this 1.8.1. So as long as this works, we should be ready to move forward with this. And this was a fairly quick one. Usually with his hot fixes, he's just putting in little fixes, patches, and then on the major versions, he's usually adding content and features. So survival game kit, blueprints, and then HUD. I'm just going to look at these. One was the tooltip, and one is required actor. So tooltip, and it was the crafting tooltip. You can see here that looks correct. I don't see any issues with the graph. We'll compile. No errors. We should be good there. And then the last one was the required actor. And we'll hit compile here. I don't see any errors, so we should be good. So the last thing we will want to do is here at the main level, you'll see where it says 1.8, version 1.8 of Survival Game Kit. Make sure you go to that in details and then just put 8.1 at the end so you can know what version we ended up on. If you find these videos helpful, make sure you go and like and subscribe, hit the little bell down there so you get a notification of each new video that I do. Also, if you want to help support Purchase Future Assets, you can go check out my Patreon. That link is in the bottom. Then what most people do is they come and join our Discord server. In there, there's a lot of people that have like-minded interests in game development, and you can go in there, ask questions, help people out that ask questions, and it's just a great place, a great resource to have access to people that do similar things to what you're doing. So make sure you go check that out. I have the link down below. I thank you for supporting my videos, for taking the time to watch this. Hopefully it helps you out, and I will see you all later.